We're at a point today where our justice systems are too big, too expensive, there are too many people in them that don't need to be in them. They're unsustainable. One of Vera's core missions is to help governments of all kinds maximize what are now very scarce taxpayer dollars to essentially provide the most fairness, the most efficiency, the most justice that results in the greatest amount of public safety for the least cost. CEO of the Center for Employment Opportunities was created years ago, essentially to deal with the problem of what happens to people once they leave prison and come back to their communities. There are very few things that are more important than employment.
CEO, much like Vera itself, really sees itself as having two mandates. One is to have a social impact, and the other is to have an economic impact. Folks come in to a classroom-based training program that lasts a week, where they learn the basic skills that many of us kind of take for granted. At the end of the week, clients graduate, they get a pair of steel-toed boots, a picture ID, and they call in for one of our many work sites. Within a week of coming to CEO, you're standing on a work site after a full day's work with a paycheck in your hand.
When you do that, you greatly decrease the chance that they will commit further crime. If that happens, government and taxpayers save huge amounts of money and are safer in the process.
We actually were able to prove that through a large-scale random assignment study and a sophisticated cost-benefit analysis by Vera. Not only did we have statistically significant impacts on crime, CEO's program saved up to $3.85 for every dollar invested in the program. So that's almost a 4-to-1 benefit to cost ratio.
It's good for taxpayers, it's good for resource allocation, it's good for the people in the communities they live in, and very clearly saves money. That is a good investment. We created our guardianship program for several reasons, not the least of which is it was clear to us that people who are indigent, incapable of dealing with their own healthcare and financial issues, were either languishing in nursing homes or hospitals with no one to help them, or in some cases were just being taken advantage of by unscrupulous attorneys.
Vera was very concerned about the fundamental mismatch between the skills and expertise of individual guardians and the complex needs of clients.
We wanted to provide the best care we could, but also with an eye toward keeping people in the least restrictive environments.
One of our clients is an elderly gentleman, 89 years old. He's a former composer. We found him living at home alone after he had lost his domestic partner. He had about 4 cans of vegetables in his pantry and about 2 TV dinners in his refrigerator. He was facing an eviction. If it was not for our intervention, this man would have been spending the rest of his life in a nursing home. Thanks to our team efforts, we've secured public benefits, we've reinstated his home care, we've bought him food. He's going to be able to remain at home for the rest of his life. It's a great outcome for him.
We do it both because it provides more justice, but as a result, we also save huge amounts of Medicaid dollars.
The average New York City nursing home costs Medicaid approximately $110,000 a year, whereas to maintain a person at home in the community, 24-hour Medicaid home care costs $74,000. So that's over a $30,000 savings just for that one person alone, and if the care levels are lower, the cost savings is even higher.
In 2009, Michael Jacobson approached me and asked me if I could help with the establishment of an integrated function within Vera to help with cost-benefit analysis and helping decision makers and policymakers apply that tool.
There was really a need, a gap, for some very solid analytic work that looked at the immediate savings or costs, the long-term savings or costs, but in a way that was devoid of politics.
Cost benefit allows you a framework to try out various scenarios and think about different ways that a policy scenario could play out. All the pros and all the cons, and to the greatest extent possible, put those down on paper along with their values to weigh the net benefit.
Cost-benefit analysis helps you think about the impact that your spending or your program or your investment has, not just on that particular agency, but on a broad range of stakeholders.
I've done stuff with Vera over the years, and each and every time, they always assemble sort of the right cast of characters to sort of think your way through a problem that I think results in policy recommendations that are meaningful to people.
Now I'm looking at your report, $47,421 per inmate per year?
Correct. In states like Connecticut, Washington State, New York, it's anywhere from $50,000 to $60,000. One of the reasons we wanted to do the Price of Prisons report is that we had a sense that people, policymakers, already understand that prison is a very expensive proposition, but we had a big sense that knowing that so many of the costs of prisons lay outside the prison budget, like the health costs, pension costs, that we wanted to aggregate it in a very accessible way so that policymakers could really see how expensive this resource is.
What we do at Vera to help jurisdictions use cost-benefit analysis is provide a lot of training and education, which we do through our Cost-Benefit Knowledge Bank project. So a lot of those materials are available online, and we have live webinars.
We add to it literally every day. Knowledge both at a high level of explaining what cost-benefit analysis is and why it's useful, and at a very practical level for policymakers and officials as to how to do it.
The Vera Institute has played an important role in criminal justice for 50 years. This is a natural extension of the role they've played. If the Vera Institute can make it easier for those who want to use cost-benefit to do so, that'll be a big benefit to society.
It's just a smart, rational way to look at how we spend our very hard-earned, valuable, increasingly shrinking tax dollars.
Vera is in a more important position today than it's ever been because its focus has always been about social and economic value. It's not about spending money or not spending money or big government or small government. It's about efficient and effective government and spending money wisely.